We are live. We are direct in the Leaders That Scale podcast today. We have Natalie Hoop, who has over the last 15 years worked across venture capitalist based backed companies, including public companies like Sequel, Strong Suit, and Beam. Today, as a fractional strategic operating partner, she teams up with some of the most entrepreneurial CEOs out there. When she steps in, she looks at the business holistically, the sales, delivery, finance, the team, the customer experience. So, without further ado, straight out of Columbus, Ohio, welcome to Leaders Who Scale podcast. Natalie Who! Let's go.
Thank you so much for that greeting. I must admit, that's the best greeting I've ever had. So
No, thank,
I
thank you.
appreciate that, Jay.
No. It's my pleasure. Tell me, what does scale and growth define?
Yeah. So when I look at scale and growth, honestly, I am truly looking for a company to get to the next level. And
Mm,
that really varies from company to company. So in some cases, it's hitting certain revenue targets or
hmm
other KPIs. It could be growth in terms of team and size. And in a lot of cases, it's market share, really trying to scale and go from the small fish to the big fish in the pond.
Okay. And how does leadership, let's define leadership as well. Um, how much of growth, if it's percentage wise, how much comes down to strategy? How much comes down to growth?
Hmm.
Sorry,
Uh,
sorry. How much comes down to strategy? How much comes down to people? To people, yeah.
yeah.
I want to get
Um,
that mix. Yeah.
yeah, I'm gonna say that it's probably 70% people and
Oh wow.
30% strategy. You made an interesting thing at the beginning where you said, what is leadership? Like, let's define it. And where I think a lot of people go wrong is they hire really amazing people, but they don't give them the training, the tools, the resources to actually do their job the way that they want to and they know they can do it. Like we
Wow.
block people from performing.
Wow. Stop there. I've got to write that down. I've got to write that down. My pen fell on the floor. I need to retrieve the pen and really write down that sort of insight.
Yeah.
Blocking people. And what's the main blocker? Is it not, is it the lack of clarity in the instructions that we give, or the communication, lack of clarity, or
Well, I think there's a couple pieces, right? So definitely lack of clarity, lack of alignment, a lack of really understanding what great looks like or what the expectation is or what the priorities are. Communication absolutely connects with that. But there's also this part where we don't give them the resources they need to succeed. So even if they had the alignment, they don't have the processes, they don't have the capacity, they don't have um, the support from the manager, from the leader to really be able to take the ball and run with it. So like I'll use a American football analogy here, right? But like, the quarterback throws the ball and then they catch it and then they run, right? They make the decision on how they're going to run. But what we do is we throw the ball and then we micromanage them and say, no, no, we don't want you to go that way. No, 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 don't do it that way. By the way, go catch five other balls. And at the same time, I need you to get over there. You're not doing it fast. That's not helpful. They know how to run. We just need to give them the block, like we need to remove the blocks so they can do what they need to do.
wow. Well said. Great analysis. PCS, the processes, the capacity, and the support.
Yeah, it's really
Could be
true.
the title of your next book.
It is something I must admit I am thinking about potentially writing a book at some point, but there's only so many hours in the day, and I'm busy helping a lot of other clients and fractionals, really run their
Yeah.
businesses. So
No, 100%. And I guess, correct me if I'm wrong, in this day and age, there's probably someone that could write your book in 48 hours, right? And all this
honestly,
wisdom, like clearly.
it's really
Yeah.
true. There are
Clearly.
so many ghostwriters that are out there that can really take that knowledge and just write it. I never even thought about it. Maybe I need to outsource
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I'm just saying that because you have a sharp mind and the insights are vivid
Thank you. I
and
appreciate it.
powerful. So, yeah. Tell me, who do you like working with? I mean, you could work with a plethora of different company sizes, industry agnostic here, your
Mhm.
brilliance. But who's ideal? Tell me, industry, company size, culture, like are they West Coast, East Coast? Tell me, like, yeah.
Yeah. So Um, you are right. There is definitely a difference where you sit in the United States and again globally. So every company has their own kind of culture from a location standpoint. That
Yep.
being said, really, I am looking. The clients I love working with are one founders who have an amazing idea. Like it's unique. It is just it's going to like be so impactful for the world in any kind of format, right? But also founders who understand that their team is their biggest resource. It is what
Mm,
makes them unique and can help them execute their idea. And what they do is just one again, scale and go to the next level. And so I usually love working with those types of leaders who are really just value their team members in a way and want to help them. They know something's wrong in the company, their team's not happy anymore, and they're looking for solutions to help them, not replace them.
amazing. And typically, how far along are these people on their journey? How much money are they making? Is it, or what's the size of the team?
Yeah, so I usually stick with seed to series B, or again, to your point, solo entrepreneurs or smaller companies. One of my clients right now is a nonprofit. Usually their teams are really small, maybe 5 people, all the way up to about 300. So a lot of times I go in and I'll grow with the company. Um, in terms of, usually I like the company to have some type of revenue. So usually let's say like 2 million to 10 million in ARR.
Hmm.
However, my last few clients that I've added to my roster are actually pre-revenue. But they just really have this amazing idea and I just know I can help them.
Amazing. Tell me, I see you in 12 months. We meet up. There's a conference in San Diego. We're kicking it in La Jolla with our drinks.
Yep.
Cling, cling. You're like,
Absolutely.
hey, look, that podcast that we did a year ago where you mentioned my PCS framework, the book's written. So
Yep.
thank you for that nudge. But also, I hit the goal that I told you about. What's the goal a year from now that has us smiling in La Jolla?
Yeah. So my goal, my true goal is I want to do a big huge speaking event. So think
Oh,
like
wow.
yeah, like a TEDx or something like that's my goal in the next year. And I 100% know I'm going to achieve it and that's what I'm aiming for.
100%. I think,
Yeah.
like I said, your ideas are amazing. Definitely something to shoot for.
Yeah.
Along with the book, I'm going to keep mentioning the book.
I will, let me, I have my trusty little marker and my whiteboard desk. I'm going to write down right now that Jay says to write a book, and it's got to be done in a year.
Yeah, I'm giving you 3 months. Three
Three
months.
months. Okay, 3 months.
If
I've
you're
got to
up,
write
if
a
you're
book.
up for the challenge, live on camera, like you probably thought, hey,
Yeah.
I just came on to answer a couple of questions, but this British bloke is telling me to write a book. Oh my god. Yeah.
Well, I'll make a deal even better. Okay, if I write the book in 3 months
Done.
and hit this goal, I will not only send you the first draft to review, but
Oh, look at this.
I will
Look at
come
this.
across to Britain and we can go have some nice fish and chips at a pub with a couple of beers.
That's that is what I'm talking about. No, this is it because I
Yeah.
see the magic. I see the magic. I've been taking some notes in green. I'm a teacher by background, so this is might look a bit messy, but hey, that's the scenario there. No, that's definitely a deal. Definitely a deal. Tell me, what are some of the trends you're seeing with these companies right now that they have to be cautious of? Is it political, economic, social, technological, legal, environmental? Like, what specifically, top two things that you're going into these companies and saying, look, beware, let's be
hmm
cautious? Yeah.
Yeah, the first thing is actually AI. So I am a huge proponent of
Oh, wow.
AI as a tool. I think it is a really great
Yes.
resource, and I think companies absolutely need it. But I have gone into a ton of companies where just because a tool says it has AI in it, they want to spend the money on it and put it as one of their tech stacks, and it does absolutely nothing for the company.
All right.
And so really,
Wow.
yeah, there is a lack of understanding of how AI can truly help these companies. And this is
Mm.
why you're getting some pushback from even some companies. There's been a couple of reports about pulling away from AI.
Ooh.
Yeah. And it's because they don't understand the rules. Right. Yeah. So AI is a huge one. People don't use it right.
Ooh.
Companies don't use it right. It's hurting them. Yeah. And then the second
Ooh. This.
thing besides I
Sorry,
would
can we
say,
unpack that first point?
okay,
Can we?
yeah, yeah, the
No,
AI, I
that
mean,
point,
yeah,
because everyone's screaming AI, everyone's screaming it, but then again, I think what it comes down to is really looking at what can actually be executed upon in the climate where, of course, we can maybe take heed of AI, but also it's realizing that there's a huge demand now for the human touch,
yes,
EQ, social intelligence as well, right? And so it's not just because the technology becomes a commodity. Hey, like at one stage, Google search might have been seen as a
right.
competitive advantage, but when we have everybody using it, it becomes a commodity.
Yes, I like to, when I talk about AI a lot, I reference chatbots. Do you remember back in the day where
Okay.
everyone was like, if you have a chatbot, none of your customers are going to use it. No one wants to self-serve. Your customer service teams were like, oh my God, I'm going to be out of a job. And guess what? None of it happened. It didn't decrease the customer service teams. People did like to use it on non-urgent and important questions that they could just, again, Google search, look at it that way. And it allowed the reps to have more capacity to actually solve the problems that needed that human touch. So that's what AI is. It's a tool. But to your point, it is a tool that everyone can utilize. So it will, at some point, level the playing field across all the companies.
No, thanks for sharing. And your
Yeah, my
second
second
factor.
one is I still think it goes to what you were saying about the human touch. And so we'll just take AI out of it. I think so many companies are really focused on I'm trying to think of like the right phrasing, but they do not understand that lack of human touch with customers is hurting brand loyalty. So going to your, exact quote where you said human touch, EQ, you can't replace that with technology, with processes, with anything. It still needs to be a part of your company and it needs to be part of the culture. And so many companies are removing it, um, especially again in the United States with removing DEI and differing points of view. This is how your company grows and scales, by getting insights that are non-biased. And it is hurting companies as well.
No, thanks for sharing that and really looking at that juxtaposition of, all right, yeah, let's automate, and yeah, it's going to solve all of our problems, but in reality, it's maybe people making people more
Mhm.
sorry, I can't say the word, but it's making people more suspicious,
Yeah.
um and things. And I guess what I am finding is people can't tell the difference now between what's a fake video and what's a real video, what post has been 100% written by AI and what hasn't. And so the things that are really definitely human based becomes maybe 10 times more valuable, right?
And
In
I
that
think you'll
regard.
start seeing that a lot with social media because there's going to be this craving for people to be authentic. And to your point, they'll be able to tell and it won't connect the same way. You know, great great example is Taylor Swift released these like clue videos with like Google and YouTube, and like everyone globally had to like find these doors and scan them, and then it would unlock a video on YouTube, right? And the videos were all done through AI, and
Wow.
people flipped. They didn't like it, they couldn't connect with it. It really can hurt your brand by using these inauthentic tools. And again, AI is a tool, and if it's used right, it's a resource. It doesn't replace that authentic connection between people.
No, that makes perfect sense. You seem very well rounded, good energy, polite, kind. Outside of your work with clients, how are you keeping in balance? Like, what are the sorts of things that you're doing to keep in balance?
Yeah, so the first is I do volunteer. It is very important to me that I do that. It makes me feel good. So I volunteer for a local dog rescue in Columbus, Ohio. Great. Always makes me feel amazing. And then the second thing is really I have focused this year on learning and growing my mindset. So listening to books on audio about how to think differently, how to process things differently, and making sure that I am pushing myself to grow just naturally. Whereas honestly, before I just let things happen to me instead of really being in charge of my own growth and development. But what about you, Jay? Like, tell me, like, what do you like to do?
Wow. You see a couple of books over here. I
Mhm.
like reading books. So this is one of my favorite books. Not, have you heard of this book?
No, I haven't. Okay, I'm writing it down right now. The tools.
The
Okay.
Tools. Yeah, it's a brilliant book. Like written by Phil Studs and Barry Michaels. There's actually a Netflix
Oh,
documentary on
okay.
this, The Tools. Yeah, and it basically talks about three or four tools that we can use in order to help us to navigate difficult situations. There's one tool called the reversal of desire, where potentially the desire is for us to step away from fear,
Mm,
to like look at it as danger, rather than saying, look, I love this fear because it's doing its job. I love
Mhm.
this fear because it's making me realize, okay, let me think about this, but I love this fear. Step into it, embrace it rather than running away from it, so to speak. So it's the reversal of the desire to put something off because it might be difficult or it might be scary, but we're able to, navigate that. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting you said that. I wrote a post about a month ago on LinkedIn because I was talking to somebody who was thinking about being fractional. And he said, when did you know it was time to like take the leap? And again, it's very much what you were saying about this fear is people are so uncertain, it stops them and holds them back. And I just really said there's never a right time. You just have to have the faith to take that leap. And I think,
Ooh.
that really goes into that insight that you're talking about in the tools, which is not running from fear, but actually embracing it and moving toward it.
Just
One of
writing
my
that down. There was never a good time. What did you
never a good
say?
time.
Is it stepping into faith?
Yeah, you have to believe that this is you have to know that this is the right move for you. You have to be faith that this is happening, and then you just have to take that leap.
Just have to
Did
take
you
the
ever
lead.
read the book Crucial Conversations?
I've heard of the book, but I've not read it.
I recommend reading it because it's not exactly that faith based of like being a, the fear, like, oh, well, like people hide from fear, but it goes into the reason why people don't have effective conversations and why they run from having those difficult conversations and avoid conflict. And it is very, to your point, it's because they are afraid. And it actually ends up doing more damage hiding from those conversations than having them. So it might be one you might want to check out.
Crucial conversations. Just getting this
Mhm.
on the computer right now. Yes, seems like it's. I might get this on Audible actually. Yeah, when talking, is it got a red cover on it?
Yes, it has a red cover.
Yeah.
Yeah, I listened to it on Spotify, and it's great.
Now, also what I like to do as well is I like to listen to the book reviews, the 20-minute book reviews that kind of go through the main concepts of the
Hmm,
book because it gives you a little bit of the things that you can action upon and things like this. So, yeah, Peter Drucker,
okay.
the success the success of business comes down to innovation and marketing. That was one of his papers. What are you doing in terms of marketing to stay relevant?
Yeah, so a big part of my marketing is obviously LinkedIn. It's where I post my thoughts and what's going on. Another thing that I have really been focusing on is doing free workshops. So, again, it's a really good marketing tool and branding tool to get my voice out there. I have one coming up in a couple of weeks. So, I usually do one every couple of months. Um, and I think another big thing is just adding value. So I do belong to a couple of Slack communities, and I really try to participate in them, provide information, give information, and just make additional connections. What do you find besides your podcast is great for marketing?
Um, I think it's leaning into gift, whatever
Mhm.
that gift might be, right? Because I'm in a lot of communities where everyone seems to be very left brain, the AI consultants, automation experts, and things like this, but they're not able to have crucial conversations.
Yeah, I think that's an operator brain, which I have, is very
Mm,
black and white, but it does inhibit you from working with teams such as marketing or sales, even engineering, if you cannot communicate through those different thought processes.
yeah. And so it's almost as though I think we all have to come out of the comfort zone. We all have to figure out where the weakness is and okay, have an understanding of the weakness, maybe get the help, invest
Mhm.
in the help, invest in the network and things like this. So yes, great
Yeah,
conversation with, sorry.
I was just gonna say one thing, to your point, asking for help, I think that is a huge struggle for a lot of people. One of the things I did this year was invest in a coach for me, both personally and professionally. She handles everything. But again, getting somebody to challenge your way of thinking and putting different perspectives and helping you grow, I think is huge. And I don't think a lot of people take the time to continue their growth process, and it hurts them.
Yeah, it does in the end because I guess we pay either way. We pay in terms of time or we can pay in terms of money. And
And
you
I'll
know,
even
some people,
challenge I was gonna say you'll pay in terms of, your feeling, your emotional state if you don't because you can become frustrated then. Like, if you can't communicate or have these crucial conversations, it frustrates you. If you learn how to do
yeah,
it, that frustration goes away.
100%. That makes sense. Now, just to round off here, um, a CEO comes to see you, they've been stuck, they've not been able to scale, like they've not been able to grow like they want to grow. I know you mentioned processes, capacity, support before. I wanted
Mhm.
to come up with three new pillars as to how you can help get the CEO back on track. So, what would be the three things that you'd lay out for the CEO that could help them get back into the right momentum?
Yeah, so I like to, really focus on the 3 O's is what I call it when I talk to them. So the first is I observe what's going on. So I look exactly at what is happening with the team. I shadow them. I shadow the customers. I really see what is currently happening. The next thing I do is actually organize. A lot of times these companies don't have data all in one source. They don't have a source of truth. They don't have anything that's easily accessible for their employees. It's all locked in people's heads. So really organize all the information and then I optimize it. I optimize it so it works for the team and it works for the customer. And that could be revenue, it could be margin, it could be CAC, but it's always something that is a struggle because it doesn't work for the employees that currently exist.
No, that makes complete sense.
Yeah,
Thank you.
my
The
pleasure.
three O's. Yeah.
Mhm. 3 O's, yep.
These are going to be chapters in that book that's going to be out within the next few
Yeah,
months.
I'll add it to the what was it? PSC, is that what we said?
Yeah, it's wow, there's so many PCS, processes
P
capacity support.
Okay, PCS.
Yes. Yeah. So you're gonna have to rewatch this podcast and then just maybe kind of get into that because the book has to come out.
Mm.
There's no choice.
Well, there's always a choice, but going to your point, I've gotta take the leap, you know?
No,
I've gotta make the
it's
choice to
just
share.
yeah. No, 100%, and that's why it's so good to speak to
Mhm.
people because sometimes you hop onto a podcast and maybe some people come on and the depth isn't quite there.
Okay.
But if the depth and there's fresh ideas, fresh insights. This isn't something that you've recycled from Tony Robbins. It's a fresh concepts, right? Everyone says, hey, you got to solve your limiting beliefs, you know, hey, add value and stuff. But if it's the three O's, observe, organize, optimize, that's pretty delicious,
Yeah.
pretty simple, but it's easy to overlook.
Well, one thing I teach, people who are looking to become fractionals is really to understand and be able to talk about if you have two fractional ops people, what makes me different? Why should they go with me other than somebody else? And first off,
Mhm.
it's always return on investment. I need to prove that it's worth spending the money and they're going to get a return on investment. But the second thing is again, why me? What makes me unique? And so, some of this stuff is what makes me unique. So it's stuff I believe in, so it's easy to talk about.
Good point there. I need to dig into something that you just said there. ROI. How do you get your people ROI?
So in some cases, it's improving metrics. In other cases, it's improving alignment and what I'll call productivity. And so in a lot of cases, I go in and I get the team all together and we're all rowing in the same boat. And then they can actually deliver the deliverables, be it new engineering projects, be it new websites, new products in general, you name it. And that will help boost whatever the company's working on. But it
Ah,
always needs to connect to what their goals are. So I always have to find out what the company's main goals are.
brilliant, 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 brilliant. So good to speak to professionals like yourself, Natalie.
I
So
thank you
good.
so much for talking to me and inviting me on. I really am thankful for this.
No, there's definitely going to be some juicy sound bites from this, which I'm going to get your way, of course. Um, Tell me, at any given stage, do you are you with one company for like how does it work in terms
Yeah,
of
so
yeah, how
Yeah, so most companies that I work with do not need a full-time person. So in any given time, I work with 3 to 4 companies at a time. And
okay.
those are ongoing contracts until either they need a full-time person, and then I help them. I call it graduate. I help them find that person, I train them and get them all set up, and then I roll off their company. Or in other cases, again, maybe they grow a little bit more and they just need a little bit more of my time, and then we just rescope.
Amazing. So let us know how can they get in contact with you, Natalie, and who are you most looking to potentially connect with in terms of people that could maybe be a good fit for your help.
Yeah, absolutely. So the easiest way to get in touch with me is my email address, which is nataliehoop@gmail.com. I'm sure we'll add that to the links. Easiest way, just email me and we'll chat more. And the people that I can most help are either fractionals who are struggling in their business or want to become a fractional. I do
Oh
offer
wow.
coaching services. Or
Wow.
for my ops customers, again, if you think your team is burning out and if you are getting high turnover or not hitting your goals, OKRs, or metrics, reach out to me. I can help. And if I can't, I can tell you who can help you.
Amazing. What a beautiful time, beautiful interview, beautiful mind. Natalie, that's definitely, if this was gonna be a hoop, it would be a slam dunk.
Yes, gotta love those hoops.
Amazing to connect. I
Thank you.
really just want to watch again. Natalie, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much,
God
Shay. I
bless
really
you.
appreciate
God bless the United States of America. Let's go.
it. Thank you.
I appreciate you.